There have been various videos that have criticized Tears of the Kingdom and don't believe the game is worth $70. So, I will explain why this game is really worth the $70. I have divided the game into sections, and I'll cover each one and go through each thing that adds value to explain why this game is really worth $70. To start off, the game could have cost $130, but instead, Nintendo is generous enough to only charge $130 for those who want to support Nintendo and buy the deluxe edition. Also, the game has no microtransactions. Modern games are full of microtransactions, and Tears of the Kingdom could have very easily had microtransactions by charging money for each Zonai dispenser used. Instead, they didn't, because Nintendo is generous and cares about their fans. So it's only just that Nintendo decided to charge $70 for this game to begin with. And this game is worth it anyway because it's been rated 10 out of 10 across the board, and gaming critics are always right. So you're getting what you pay for with this game. Mechanics. Now, this game was delayed for a year, and for good reason at that. The Ultra Hand has no bugs! I'm so used to modern games being buggy that Tears of the Kingdom being a working game is truly shocking in this day and age. What's even more shocking is that reverse time actually works. It works on any movable object. I just can't believe how advanced this game is. One of my biggest complaints of Breath of the Wild is how you cannot refight bosses. Tears of the Kingdom solves this problem, making it a worthy sequel. Bosses can now be refought for players who want to re-experience those amazing fights. Speaking of improvements, remember how annoying it would be when it rains in Breath of the Wild? I forgot, but this is no longer a problem in Tears of the Kingdom. Just complete all the side quests to obtain the frog armor, then upgrade all the pieces, and now rain will no longer be an issue, as long as you have the armor on, of course. This makes Tears of the Kingdom an amazing game, and much better than Breath of the Wild. What is the best-selling game of all time? Minecraft. Tears of the Kingdom, wanting to be a modern game, decided to take Minecraft's best features. You already got the crafting part with the Ultra Hand, but now you can also mine. It's like I don't even need to play Minecraft ever again. One of the best parts of Tears of the Kingdom are the friends that follow you. You can find 5 friends that will follow you at all times, and will even help you in battle. How nice of them. Breath of the Wild decided to move away from the roots of the Zelda series, and Tears of the Kingdom decided to move back to the roots of the Zelda series. So now, bombs are a limited resource once again. This finally feels like a true Zelda game, unlike Breath of the Wild with their infinite bombs. My least favorite part of Breath of the Wild were the horses. Oh, they're too far away, and they can't be called now. Oh, you have to return the horse before I can get another one out. In Tears of the Kingdom, you don't have to worry about this nonsense anymore. Just make a flying bike, and you can get around anywhere at any time. If for some strange reason you still want to ride a horse, you can still use the stable. And there's even a gold horse too if you want that, but that's not really expected of the player, so we won't really add that to the total of the value of the game. Sky Islands. On the cover of Tears of the Kingdom is the Sky Islands, the main selling point of the game. And Tears of the Kingdom didn't disappoint. I'm going to go through each Sky Island and how they add value to the game. Starting off, you get the Tutorial Island. It's so much better than the Great Plateau, a great introduction to the game, and really makes it really exciting to explore the sky in Tears of the Kingdom. Map changes. Tears of the Kingdom makes the old map of Breath of the Wild feel fresh. So fresh that I'm convinced this is what Hyrule was meant to be, and Breath of the Wild with the map was just an incomplete game. Across the map are 147 caves for the player to explore. Some caves are disguised as wells. There was even a quest that will reward the player for finding all wells. This really brings life to the world. Speaking of changes, Tears of the Kingdom fixes Breath of the Wild's biggest issue, which is world traversal. Getting in the sky to glide around can be done with a revolving scale in Breath of the Wild, but in Tears of the Kingdom, you don't even need that anymore. Tears of the Kingdom fixes this issue by making launch towers launch the player into the sky. No more need for a revolving scale. Tears of the Kingdom also made some minor improvements that made exploring much more fun. The map now has units, so the player can now know exactly where they are at all times. Shrines and Underground. Tears of the Kingdom's best kept secret is that there's an entire world to explore underground. You can explore a brand new map on top of the old map of Hyrule. Just exploring the underground alone is like playing a brand new game. Any other company would charge $120 for this game, but Nintendo is generous enough to only charge $70. Exploring the underground provides 120 light routes to activate. On top of this, there are 152 shrines for the player to explore. This game is filled to the brim with content, to the point it's overwhelming. What's even better is that some of these shrines have sections that are done in the overworld. This alone makes Tears of the Kingdom a great game everyone must play. Even the dungeons are spectacular. The dungeons are like the classics, and they're real brain teasers. Side quests. This game looks beautiful. Tears of the Kingdom gives players a reason to photograph the beauty of this game. Every stable has a specific photo that they want for their stable, but the players control over how the photo is taken, and that photo will go up in that stable for them to see for the rest of the game. Also, there are figurines that can be created in Terrytown. All that's required is a picture of a monster, and the figurine will be created. The player can then move the figurine around however they like, and they could take a cool photo when they're finished. Collectibles. This game is full of collectibles too. There are even more things for the player to accomplish compared to Breath of the Wild, which is yet another reason to justify the price of Tears of the Kingdom. One of the biggest changes that the player can now have is more hearts or stamina. Collecting hearts is one of the best parts of a Zelda game, so having more hearts just means more fun. Even Koroks give more. Some Koroks you find want to find their friend, and if you help them find their friend, they will give you 2 Korok seeds instead of 1 for your efforts. Also, all around the world, the player can find Zonai parts. There are 27 total for the player to find, and they can be used to construct vehicles. For players that want to explore the caves, each one has an evil beast the player must slay. When destroyed, the player gets a bubble gem. Bubble gems can be used to disguise themselves as beasts and trick them. Better yet, all the DLC from Breath of the Wild can be found in Tears of the Kingdom for free. The player, all they have to do is find it, and the game will even aid them with maps. Combat. Now the combat. This is where the most value is added. The best part is that there are unique bosses this time. This is what players always wanted. This is one of the biggest complaints of Breath of the Wild that Tears of the Kingdom finally solved. What's that? A new enemy. That's right, the Horoblin. It hides on the roof of caves and jumps down to Salt Lake. This solves Breath of the Wild's biggest complaint, which is the lack of enemy variety. Better yet, there are returning enemies from previous games too. Now, Gibdos are back, better than ever. You also have mini-bosses too. Breath of the Wild only really had one mini-boss to Lionel. And any other mini-bosses, well, they're back in this game too. But Tears of the Kingdom adds so much more that I'm going to just list them all. You have the 3-headed dragon, the Gelox, the Flux Constructs, which vary in power, the Frogs, found underground, the Boss Bokoblin, and the Hands, which then transforms into Phantom Ganon. This is like 2 mini-bosses in one. What makes these fights even more fun is the player has more tools to fight these enemies. Zonai devices can be used to aid the player fight these bosses. Speaking of more tools, arrows now can have parts attached to them to give them special abilities. Just like in Minecraft, how you can craft things. Again, Tears of the Kingdom taking inspiration from the best-selling game of all time, truly making Tears of the Kingdom worth it. Even the final boss is better in this game. There's a physical Ganon this time. For the items the player can find, they have even more value in this game, because again, they can be crafted by added to your weapon. Some items can't even be picked up, but they can only be attached to your weapon. And when they're attached, not only does it make the weapon stronger, it makes them last longer, which solves a big problem from Breath of the Wild, which is weapons breaking too fast. Now in Tears of the Kingdom, they'll last much longer. And you're going to need the power, because there are gauntlets which can be found underground, where waves of enemies is thrown at the player, but it's worth it for a good reward. Characters and story. Now the part that no one cares about, story. So that's why we have it at the end. Now it is there for those who want to indulge, but even the devs know that no one really cares. But it's there for those who want to experience it. To start off, we have Pura, who now looks older. If you ever been around when Tears of the Kingdom was first out and on the Discord, Pura was what everyone was talking about. So Pura adds $5 worth of value to this game. Really makes Tears of the Kingdom what it is. Now, remember how hard it was to find memories in Breath of the Wild? Well, Tears of the Kingdom fixed that. Memories are so obvious that you cannot miss them. They can be seen from the sky, depicting something. Now every player can see the story in any order they like. What's also cool is the player gets the Master Sword, but the way it's obtained is different. It requires stamina to pick up this time, which subverts the player's expectations. There's also this cool moment in the game where there are musicians who Link needs to help wake up the Great Fairies. Another great addition to Tears of the Kingdom is that Sidon has a new fiancé now. Lastly, now there's a new exciting way to get to the Deku Tree. So that is every single possible reason why Tears of the Kingdom is worth $70. And those are the only reasons. There are no other reasons. And all these reasons I've listed are valid. So next time anyone complains about why the Tears of the Kingdom is worth $70, just list out every single one of these reasons exactly. To really explain why this game is worth $70 and why anyone who questions this is wrong. Thank you for watching.